Opinion program. The opinions expressed by the hosts and guests of this program are not the opinions of the management, staff, and advertisers of this station. Please direct all criticism, concern, and adulation to the hosts of this program.
Welcome to Alabama Politics. This week I am Dale Jackson. I'm a radio talk show. You can hear my show Monday through Friday from 5 to 9 a.m. on WVNN in Huntsville. With me, as always, Mecca Music. She is the CEO of 256today.com. Smart news for smart people. Smart enough to know that even though she wanted people to call her Big Tex, it was never, ever going to happen. We got a lot to talk to. Don't tell me stuff if you don't want me to say it. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. James Lomax will be with us. He's a state representative, and we'll have a conversation with him about a bunch of things. And I've got a party shot for you as well. Right now, though, let's go ahead and get to the 2-minute warning. All right, the LA riots, let's talk about it. It is the big thing going on in the world, and I will tell you this right now, everyone is getting exactly what they want from this. Donald Trump is able to say, I'm being strong, I'm taking care of this, I'm handling this. Gavin Newsom and Democrats, they get to say, what riots? What's happening? And then turn around and go, all these riots, Donald Trump's fault. I mean, everyone gets everything that they want out of this, and there's an Alabama connection to it as well. You got Tommy Tuberville being criticized because he called this the summer of hate, which is exactly what it's going to turn into. And then Gavin Newsom decided to hit him back and say, yeah, well, your crime rate's higher. I'll talk about that in the party shot. Barry Moore has come out and said, let's punish these people who are doing this even harder than we have in the past. I think that's a good idea. Mecca, what's happening here and how bad is this going to get?
I think that's a pretty accurate description. I think everybody is getting a lot of what they want out of this. It would just depend on who you support and who you agree with on these points. To talk about more, he's co-sponsoring the Riot Act. And that's if you're convicted of this, it would make a non-U.S. citizens convicted of actual or attempted assault or battery or use of force against law enforcement eligible for deportation. And then it would also permanently ban any of those deported immigrants from ever returning to the United States.
So illegal immigrants can't come back? No, okay. I mean, the thing that's amazing about this conversation, especially, and including that, is the original thing never would have kicked off if these states like California and others would have allowed ICE to pick up people at the jails. And for those who don't know, this is how this thing goes. When they release these people from jail who are supposed to get deported, some states will not tell law enforcement or hold them to be picked up. So when they get released, they got to go track them down, which is dangerous to go make them go do. And then now we're getting all these people identifying where people are, and it's just turned into a big mess. It's a big scrum. And so Democrats have decided that their way back to power is taking on yet another issue that they cannot win. Trump's 60-30 on sending in the National Guard. It's crazy.
Oh, definitely a high approval ratings on this. But you said speaking, they're getting what they want. And I think Newsom is those little spars with Tuberville, stick to football, bro. Yeah. That sort of thing. That's what they want to do.
And he's wrong. On his premise, he's completely wrong, which is so silly for him to even be engaging in this kind of stuff. But here's what it is. He doesn't care what happens here.
Right.
He is securing the Democratic nomination for president. And all I'll say to that is, congratulations, President J.D. Vance, because that's how this thing is going to play out.
And they also had their own little sparring match, which is kind of a preview of what to come.
I mean, they're getting enough ads here right now to use them forever. All right, let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about some NASA cuts, or at least what we saw as NASA cuts coming from the big, beautiful bill. Which has a lot of problems as is currently constituted. And you're starting to see it change in the United States Senate. I spoke with Katie Britt earlier this week, and I asked her, I said, is the Ted Cruz version of the NASA budget going to pass, or is it going to be the House version of the NASA budget? And she said, undoubtedly, it is the Ted Cruz version, which is actually a $10 billion. $10 billion? $10 million is almost nothing. They laugh at $10 million. Aha, $10 million. A $10 billion bump in the budget. I talked to a lot of people in various different settings, in bars, in taverns, in restaurants. Wait, those are all the same. And they tell me they're worried about this. A lot of them are worried about this. Do they have to worry?
I think that we are going to see. We don't know what's going to happen with the big beautiful bill at this point. We've talked about this for weeks now. There's still a lot of moving parts on it. I mean, and we talked about deadline last week. But as far as the NASA funding, I think you will see a lot of that funding restored or increased. And if it's not in the big beautiful bill, there is the appropriations process, which is just now starting.
Right, and so that process is taking place, and they have to figure out exactly how they're going to do it and what they're going to do moving forward. But at the end of the day, NASA has a problem. They have the privatized space stuff is horning in on what they're doing. And it's hard. And I keep asking people this. Tell me something NASA's done in the last 10 years that would be like their signature achievement. Like their new thing, their sexy thing that you could sell to the American people. I'm not suggesting like the International Space Station isn't amazing. And
I mean,
work.
I would say that it's what they do is pretty amazing.
No, stop. Listen, here's the thing you're doing. You live in Huntsville.
Yes.
And you're, for lack of a better term, working that premise. Okay? Think about
working a premise. I'm duly impressed with the work that is done here
the point
in
is,
Huntsville.
if you lived in Iowa and someone came to you and said, what has NASA done? What would you say? You'd have a hard time. And to listen like the Huntsville Chamber, they're like, oh, well, you got to understand, this is very important to China not win the space race. And it's like, come on, you're concerned about the jobs. I'm not suggesting the budget should be cut. I'm not. I'm just telling you, we've been dealing with the SLS and all this other stuff for a very long time, and there's not that big thing to say, let's spend more on this.
There has been some setbacks on some of these programs. These restoration of funding would continue that program, however.
I'm not suggesting cutting the program. All I'm saying is they need some PR wins, and they don't got them right now. So they'll be lucky if they do not get a cut, and I think that's where it's going. All right, not towards a cut, towards more funding. All right, let's talk about the Golden Dome. This is something that I think people are going to eventually rally behind. The Golden Dome is, of course, the American version of the Israeli Iron Dome, which is basically an American creation. So it's a bigger version of that, and that's made in Alabama. And I think there are some concerns about a project this big getting funded because it will be humongous. And what we're talking about is basically creating a missile shield, much like they have over in Israel. But our territory is ridiculously larger comparably. And there's a level of militarization over there that we do not have here. So there's a lot of different pieces of this, and it's got to look it's going to look a lot different. Dale Strong started up the Golden Dome caucus, and one of the first members was Jeff Crank. And I thought what's interesting about Jeff Crank being one of the first members, they were kind of banging heads on the Space Command.
So they are completely at odds on Space Command. Crank is Colorado, and so he's doing what he's supposed to do for his district. But I think this really shows congressional support. And like you said, this is a big, heavy lift, a huge undertaking and project. But for them to come together and already be like, hey, we're going to support that. I mean, it benefits both, let's be honest. But this, I think, already shows widespread support from lawmakers.
Here's the question that happens. If Trump leaves, does this program still exist? That is the question. So you've got to get buy-in from Congress in order to have this program actually exist in some way, shape, or form to make it happen. Because it's very likely that whoever the next president is, whether it's J.D. Vance or Gavin Newsom or someone we've never even heard of, maybe it's James Lomax, who's going to be on the show here in just a little bit, it's very likely the Golden Dome is going to get axed. And they're going to look at it and they're going to go, anyway, they're going to kind of move on. I think that's very likely. So you need to get congressional support on it.
Yeah, it's definitely not impossible. But again, we were talking about the timeline. Yeah. I mean, even the most generous timelines, it's still a ways off to get this sort of thing done. And you're right. That is a valid concern.
So we talk about NASA and all their funding issues, and then another thing will require tons of funding in order to do. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about these tariffs. And here we are, yet another week where we say, hey, the China deal is done, and everyone celebrates, and everyone says, okay, cool, that's great. So what is it? It's like, don't worry, we'll get back to that. And that's basically where we are on this. I'm not suggesting the talks have moved forward. They did make some deals, which basically said, okay, rare earth minerals, they're going to continue to give us those, so we have the opportunity to use those for the things we need them for. And we're going to lower tariffs back to where they were, I guess, at Liberation Day. That's where they would be. So there's no official total deal done yet. And honestly, I don't think there's any official deal done yet at all. So And with Donald Trump being given the ability to kind of play in the tariff world,
Yes.
it lets him make these kind of side deals here, almost what they are, because he can just remove the tariff himself. So all these
And then there's the
conversations
threat in 2 weeks
of the other ones. Yeah, so there's a threat of more tariffs coming. The China deal says it's done. Is it done?
I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and that's why the stock market's kind of about this.
Yes.
So the stock market hears this, obviously it goes up, and then on Thursday he talks about, there'll be new tariffs potentially, or I have the right to go back to some of these
And the
tariffs.
stock market did not love that news.
No, it's not going to like those news. So this isn't over. This, I think, is going to be his signature issue.
Oh.
Because it's gonna go throughout his entire term. I think.
Okay, but listen, what one of the spokespeople said was those engaged in good faith negotiations, those who are actually negotiating, you're good. You're good. In 2 weeks, this isn't going to hit you.
Right, but whose
I
term
don't-
is
I-
good?
we
good
don't
good
know.
faith negotiation.
We do
and
not
that's
know
what I
that.
mean. The amount of power given to Donald Trump and his team on this is kind of a huge, because he can say 55% tariffs, and they go,
Yeah.
never mind, 25% tariffs. Oh wait, 35% tariffs. Wait, who was I talking to? You? 35% tariffs. And he can make these
Yes.
decisions. So they kind of moves it around in that way. So like I said, I think this is gonna be one of his big deals. But if he can walk away with wins, again, it will be his signature accomplishment.
Absolutely.
His signature accomplishment, resetting the trade table. That's really what he's trying to do here. All right, when we come back, James Lomax will be with us. He's the state representative. Stay tuned. Keep it locked right here on Alabama Politics This Week.
Fox 54 Plus is your streaming home for news from the world of sports. Join the Fox 54 sports team for local highlights and insights. Stream Fox 54 Sports Extra anytime on Fox 54 Plus. Live, local, and always on.
At Elite Door Service, we're your local experts for all things garage doors, residential and commercial. Our licensed and insured team is led by a certified master technician. When it comes to garage doors, don't settle for average. Choose Elite Door Service.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom, Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
Scout Pest Control is your one-stop shop for pest control. We do it all, from rodents to mosquitoes, termites to bed bugs. We offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee on all our services. When you think pest control, think Scout. ScoutPestControl.com.
Opioids that were prescribed by a doctor, it's no big deal. The pills we felt were probably the least harmful because something that came from a doctor, it can't be that bad. This feels so good, and I want to feel this way every day.
3 and 4 pills with turning to 9 and 10 pills.
Old values and morals were completely cast away. Addiction is lying to you. There is a way out. You just have to reach out for help.
Here's an important message from the U.S. Med Diabetes Solutions Center. If you have diabetes, you know the pain of pricking your fingers. But now, by wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce your pain right away. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. So daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. Call the U.S. Med Diabetes Solutions Center to learn about this groundbreaking new CGM technology. If you have Medicare or private insurance, call to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost. Shipping is free and will even bill your insurance company for you. US Med is the #1 rated supplier on Google and Facebook reviews. So call us right now to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost.
Fox 54 Plus is your streaming home for news from the world of sports. Get the latest scoop on Bama straight from the coach's mouth. Stream the Kalen DeBoer Show anytime on Fox 54 Plus. Live, local, and always on.
Welcome back to Alabama Politics. This week, I'm Dale Jackson. With me, as always, Mecca Music.
And this week, we have State Representative James Lomax joining us. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Mecca. Thank you, Dale. Good to be back.
Listen, you recently wrote a piece kind of reflecting on the session. And one of the things you mentioned, you can read that on 256today.com, by the way.
Smart news for smart people.
Dale's not allowed. One of the things you mentioned was your bill that bans foreign influence in Alabama elections. Now, why is this needed?
Well, it's a major issue that's going on throughout the United States. A lot of people don't know this. So under the national laws around elections, the FEC, it's illegal for foreign nationals, so someone that lives in China or lives in Germany, to donate and influence elections in the United States of America. That's common sense. It's the same way in Alabama, too, with our FCPA laws. However, that doesn't reflect on ballot referendums or constitutional amendments. So you could have a constitutional amendment that fundamentally changes the Constitution of the state of Alabama, and foreign influence could come into play. And that would be, something that we could not prosecute under current law. So I feel like getting that in place, doing it to where we can make sure that foreign influence is not part of Alabama elections, is just a common sense thing to do.
Is that happening? I mean, what I mean by that is, are we seeing referendums where, some foreign entity is like, I need to play a role in this?
Yeah, so I think you could absolutely pull up many different cases that have occurred. A lot of them have to do with super PACs or PACs have gotten a lot of money, and then once you trace it back to where it came from companies that are overseas. It came from governments in some cases. There was a large case in the state of Minnesota. So we're just trying to get ahead of that, trying to make sure it doesn't take place here.
So you introduced the bill this session, but it didn't go through. Why is that?
I did. So I think, you run into things that during the legislative session that has to do with a lot of explaining what it is, making sure everyone understands what you're actually trying to do and why it's needed. So we went through that. We passed it through the House with flying colors. We made it through Senate committee, and then the Senate, as Dale likes to hear, ran out of time.
Oh, of course, they always run out of time. It's like the calendar. I swear, I'm going to buy every member of the legislature a calendar.
That's right.
And on the end, I'm going to put every day. I'm going to put this many days till the end of the session. And then
is it going to have daylight savings time? That's
I'm going to figure all of that out. Who knows?
Okay, so you are planning on reintroducing it for the next 2026?
I'm going to be pre-filing that bill. Yeah, it's very important.
Okay. One of the things that is having some lingering runoff from the legislative session is this bill that regulates THC stuff. This is, for some reason, such a high and hot issue.
Yeah.
And I get that people want to get high, and I understand that that's a big part of this. But I think what you guys did was kind of reasonable. You guys said, okay, let's take it to the ABC. They wanted Governor Ivey to veto the bills. A lot of small business owners said, we'll be put out of business if we can't sell this to children. And they sort of, I mean, that's the argument they made, Becca. I'm sorry. That's.
I don't think those are the exact words, but your point is.
It's pretty close. I mean, that's pretty close. So is that the end for THC stuff in the state of Alabama? Or, because I think it's always a moving.
Aren't there still, there's still edibles allowed, and it's still allowed in liquid. It's just at a 10 milligram limit, I think.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of limits. And there's a lot of people who said you can't do the smokable and stuff like that.
Right, nothing that you can inhale.
Well, I think both you know that the United States Farm Bill had made some of that stuff legalized in the state of
There's like this gray area.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this really put some guardrails on it, because what you had is you have this stuff being marketed to children. You have it being marketed in ways that are going to be psychoactive. So even if you're taking it for, you say medicinal purposes, gas stations aren't meant to be pharmacies at the end of the day.
Yep.
And this stuff should not be available to grab right next to your Mountain Dew and your Sour Punch Kids. So I think that's what this addressed. It's still available to the people that want it and need to utilize it for whatever different reasons, and we're still in compliance with the federal farm.
It also regulates where it comes from and what it actually is. You can't just have a whole bunch of stuff in and say, okay, this is what it is.
Yeah, it's sawdust.
It was completely unregulated all the way around.
I do want to ask you about the Alabama Energy Infrastructure Bank Act. That's a lot of words, Representative Lomax.
Right.
Tell me.
I call it the Alabama Energy Bank, powering growth in the state of Alabama. Look, the future, the way that the nation is going, it's not just about available land when it comes to companies doing economic development projects, but it's, can you provide power? Can you turn it on to where we can do the things we need to do so we can provide jobs and health insurance and all those things. So it's really interesting. If you start with power, everything else kind of works out. So this is going to allow, whether it's the utility companies, whether it's TVA, whether it's any other energy providers, to be able to use financing measures through the state so that we can get ahead on projects that maybe aren't even here yet. We're thinking 10, 15, 20 years down the road.
You got members of the legislature who are running for different seats, a higher office, all these things. Anything you want to announce? You look right into the camera. Now's a great time. You just say running for governor or lieutenant governor or something.
I would love to tell you I'm really interested in coming back and serving the people of District 20 if they'll have me. I've really enjoyed it. You get to work with some really incredible people in Montgomery. I think we have great leadership in the House all around, and that's been very helpful to get.
But you've never thought about it? Like, look, maybe not this term, next time.
Well, earlier in your segment, you did float me for president, and I can announce I'm not going to be doing that.
Okay,
so.
all right.
Let me ask you, were you, just to talk about the 2026 elections, were you surprised that Senator Coach Tuberville is
Get it right, Governor-elect, Coach, United States Senator Tommy Tuberville.
That's your line.
Okay.
Were you surprised that he, decided not to run for Senate again when he was basically guaranteed?
He's guaranteed this too. So.
Okay, were you surprised by this move?
Not really. I think everything he says kind of tracks and aligns with who he is. He was a coach. He was the executive of the team. He was a CEO of the Auburn football team, and this role is going to be very similar in a lot of ways. And looking forward to seeing the good things he does as governor.
How different do you think he and Kay Ivey would be as governor? Like, what would be different about the two of them?
There could be some fundamental differences. We'll have to see how active he is as a governor. I know he has a lot of ideas. It's interesting to see how his tone has been already as senator and the things he's thinking forward about for the state of Alabama as governor.
I think you were talking about, you've criticized Governor Ivey for not being out front of a lot of issues. Yeah. Are you saying that?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And again, she may be down there working it in the legislature. From what I hear, she is not doing it as in walking over there. She'll make phone calls and stuff like that. But I would expect Tuberville to be a guy who's going to walk across the yard and say, hey, this is what I want. And he's also be a guy who's going to do more interviews. He's going to be a guy who's going to talk more to the public, because we don't have a chief executive right now who is making her case to the public on issues she wants. I think that would make a difference on a lot of bills. Do you agree with that?
It could. I would say Governor Ivey has been, in touch with me, and during the sessions, she has, I think, led on a lot of issues. So, be interesting to see what Governor Tuberville takes into account and what he wants to do.
Yeah, I know people give me a hard time because I raised this issue, but people raise it to me. I'm merely the voice of that issue. James Lomax, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate you. Mecca's leaving, so the show is going to get so much better. Keep it locked right here on Alabama Politics This Week.
At Elite Door Service, we're your local experts for all things garage doors, residential and commercial. Our licensed and insured team is led by a certified master technician. When it comes to garage doors, don't settle for average. Choose Elite Door Service.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom, Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
Scout Pest Control is your one-stop shop for pest control. We do it all, from rodents to mosquitoes, termites to bed bugs. We offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee on all our services. When you think pest control, think Scout. ScoutPestControl.com.
Opioids that were prescribed by a doctor, it's no big deal. The pills we felt were probably the least harmful because something that came from a doctor, it can't be that bad. This feels so good, and I want to feel this way every day.
3 and 4 pills with turn into 9 and 10 pills.
Old values and morals were completely cast away. Addiction is lying to you. There is a way out. Just have to reach out for help.
Here's an important message from the U.S. Med Diabetes Solution Center. If you have diabetes, you know the pain of pricking your fingers. But now, by wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce your pain right away. It's easy to use. It helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. So daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. Call the U.S. Med Diabetes Solution Center to learn about this groundbreaking new CGM technology. If you have Medicare or private insurance, call to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost. Shipping is free and will even bill your insurance company for you. U.S. Med is the #1 rated supplier on Google and Facebook reviews. So call us right now to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost.
Fox 54 Plus is your streaming home for news from the world of sports. Get the latest scoop on Bama straight from the coach's mouth. Stream the Kalen DeBoer Show anytime on Fox 54 Plus. Live, local, and always on.
Welcome back to Alabama Politics. This week, I am Dale Jackson. We will take a second here and get to the parting shot in just a bit. But first, let me tell you about YellowHammerNews.com. Head on over there. Sign up for my email blast. You'll get the 7 things you should be talking about today delivered every single day. And you can go check that out right there at YellowHammerNews.com. Plus, lots of great stuff there as well. All the latest news on what's going on in the great state of Alabama. That's YellowHammerNews.com. Right now, let's go ahead and get to the parting shot. My parting shot this week is directed at Governor Gavin Newsom. Not only is he completely failing his state by pretending everything is fine when we obviously know that it is not, he has also went on a little bit of a tweet spree. Every time somebody criticized him, who was a governor of another state, he would say, well, my murder rate's less than yours. And he did this to not only Alabama, when Tommy Tuberville raised it, but Arkansas and Oklahoma as well, and I think a couple other states too. But it misses the entire point. A couple of things about this crime rate statistic and murder rate statistic that he wants to raise. A couple of things. A lot of entities do not report exactly what's going on in their state to this statistic. And also, another thing they also seem to forget is that inside these cities and states, these red states with blue cities inside them, like Birmingham and Montgomery, those are Democrat-led cities. Where the crime policies are the same as in places like California for the most part, except what the state requires them to do. We do not police by state. We actually police by city, and that's a big part of the problem here when he tries to make this comparison. So the lax laws in California created their problems, and him pretending that he doesn't understand that so he can get a burn on Twitter doesn't help his people at all. But as I said earlier in the show, this isn't about that. For him, this is about securing the Democratic nomination for president in 2028, and he's probably done a pretty good job at doing just that. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening to Alabama Politics this week. We will talk with you next week.
Opioids that were prescribed by a doctor, it's no big deal. The pills we felt were probably the least harmful because something that came from a doctor, it can't be that bad. This feels so good and I want to feel this way every day.
3 and 4 pills would turn into 9 and 10 pills.
Old values and morals were completely cast away. Addiction is lying to you. There is a way out. Just have to reach out for help.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom, Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.